South Africa versus England live on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Feel it all and watch every England Test, ODI and T20 live and exclusive on the dedicated Sky Sports Cricket channel.
Jordan back around. That is straighter. Quinton de Kock has gone for this one. He's got underneath it a bit. He's got nowhere near all of it. And Tom Curran will take the catch. And Chris Jordan has his moment. He is now officially England's leading T20 international wicket taker.
We knew that this lad was going to be something special, so I'm really, really happy for him.
Bavuma, who has just lobbed an easy catch, the simplest of catches. He will not be making 70. Nicked and caught. Slower ball from Stokes, a waft outside the off stump from Hendricks, and South Africa are now 64 for 3. Rashid is in. It's a pull sweep square, or just in front of square, and it's been fiercely struck by Rassie van der Dussen.
And he's looking dangerous, Butch.
Final ball of the 16th from Tom Curran. Faf du Plessis gets this one in the wheelhouse, and that lands about 10 rows back in the seats.
Fantastic cricket shot.
Archer is in.
Short.
Van der Dussen has climbed into this one into the leg side. 6, 4, 4. No score, 6. Jordan goes in. Faf du Plessis has climbed into this one. He has sent the ball many a mile. It is another 6. Archer is in. Oh, that is absolutely lashed straight back past the bowler by Rassie van der Dussen. And Rassie van der Dussen has a 50. Van der Dussen, as Jordan goes in, launches him back over his head. It's into the stands again. And the runs are flowing.
That's the shot of the evening for me.
What does Jordan do? He goes in past the umpire. Van der Dussen swings hard, back over Jordan's head. That's got huge hang time. That's Air Jordan. South Africa post 191 for 3.
Extraordinary innings of two halves in this third and final T20 international from Newlands in Cape Town. 63 for 3 South Africa in the 10th over, and then from the 10th to the 20th they piled on 125 without loss. Faf du Plessis making 52 from 37 deliveries, and an absolute sparkling half century from Van der Dussen. 74 from just 32 deliveries from him, a 23 ball 50, the fastest Newlands, bar a 17 ball half century from none other than Christopher Henry Gale back in 2015. It was an extraordinary onslaught from the two South African batsmen, and one that you could scarcely have imagined would happen after the start from Quinton de Kock and Temba Bavuma, which was sluggish to say the very least. De Kock was taken by Tom Curran off the bowling of Chris Jordan for just 17, and that made Jordan England's highest wicket taker in the T20 international format. Ben Stokes chipped in with the wickets of Bavuma and Hendricks, 2 for 26 for England's Premier all-rounder from his 3 overs, and then the wheels came off for England. You could look at that one of two ways, actually. Alex Tudor and Alfonso Thomas joined me. One is that England fell apart in the last half, and their death bowling, the likes of Tom Curran and Jordan, etc. Jofra Archer took some stick, was found wanting. Or you could throw it the other way around and say, well, if South Africa were able to score at that sort of rate in the back end of the innings, that this pitch, under perhaps a little bit of dew, has changed from the daytime to the nighttime, and that England might actually make light work of what looks at the moment to be a stiff chase.
No, you're right, Butch. It's as you say, if you look at the way they compiled their runs, it was very impressive. You know, they didn't go out at the first set. They assessed the wicket, the bowler they targeted. I think it all sort of got going when Tom Curran came on, and he decided he's going to go. He's been quite expensive in this series so far. He might be a little bit down on confidence, and Faf, with all his experience, decided to jump on him, and it sort of elevated from there. And on Van der Dussen got going. He found his range. They were giving him width. He's a big, tall man, 6 foot plus. Don't give him width. Tuck him up for room. I was surprised, especially with Sam later on, where the ball was just tailing away from over the wicket. I thought we might see him coming round and then just sort of cutting off his arms a little bit and just tucking him up. But so a little bit disappointed with that. But, you know, England go with their execution. Chris Jordan bowling extremely fast tonight, 90 plus a lot of the times, getting his Yorker slightly wrong. But they're the percents, aren't they? They're the little 1%ers. If you don't quite get that right in T20 cricket, these lads now, especially when they're in, you're out the park.
Right.
And it was a phenomenal batting display from the two tonight.
You mentioned a couple of players there. Well, not to mention cutting off the batsman's arms, which I'm sure would stop him from scoring in any whether you're over or around the wicket. But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But Tom Curran has had a rough old time of it, actually. His figures are 2 for 116 in just 10 overs in the 3 T20 internationals. And you would imagine, perhaps when England look back at the series, or when they look at how they might look to try and get a second spinner in, perhaps in Moeen Ali, that in Tom Curran, even though they fancy him at the death, they have Archer and Jordan, who are death bowlers also, plus the extra overs of Ben Stokes. Somebody like Tom Curran will look back at this series and think to himself, wow, have I just played myself out of this 15?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is, getting in this England side, and Owen Morgan's backing them and he's backing his players and his individuals. But when you have that ownership, it's like you don't want to give it up. And as you say, Mark, he's most probably looking back thinking, I might have let it slip here. Mark Wood might just be coming off the rank here. I might have just given it up. But, Owen Morgan, we know he's a stubborn man. And, he'll stick with him, possibly. But as you say, if anyone's looking over their shoulder, it'll definitely be Tom at the moment.
Alfonso, good news, excellent news for South Africa. A brilliant partnership between du Plessis and van der Dussen. 127 runs for that fourth wicket. And 84 from the last 5 overs. That's the most England have ever conceded in T20 internationals. But you're still not happy, are you? Because Faf du Plessis walked in at number 4, and who knows how many they might have scored if he'd come in at number 3.
Yeah, no, but I reckon that they could easily have gone over 200. But again, taking another van der Dussen, taking nothing away from him, played superbly well. 74, 32 balls, 5 4s and 5 6s. There was some amazing hitting in that knock, and then Faf just kept it together for him, really. But I still think the key for South Africa going into this bowling innings is going to be those 2 spinners and how they can come out of that first 6 overs out of the power play.
George Linder has had an excellent start to his T20 international career. Picked up 2 for in the first match, 2 for 20 in the loss at Cape Town, as well as some lusty hitting down the order, 12 from just 6 balls in that game. The second at Boland Park, his bowling figures were none for 27, and he also made 25 off just 17 balls, I think, at the back end of that innings. So he is having an excellent time of it, and is somebody that South Africa will be looking towards for that T20 World Cup. Still no sign of what South Africa are going to do, if anything, with Imran Tahir. And you're right, Tobias Shamsi answered 1 or 2 critics. He was taken out of the attack, didn't finish his allotment in the first game at Cape Town, but picked up 3 for 19 in England's run chase at Boland Park. They could be crucial. Also, a crucial matchup in this run chase for England is going to be that of Jason Roy versus the left-arm spin of George Linder. And it looks very much as though Quentin de Kock is going to employ his left-arm spinner against England's number 1 in the T20 side, Jason Roy. Josh Buttler stands at the non-striker's end, the strap on his helmet sort of flapping around underneath his chin as George Linder visualises the crease, the line and the length that he's going to employ to Jason Roy. Floodlights in full effect now at Cape Town. The stars emanating from the feet of the fielders out there, the 4 points from the shadows being cast across the ground. There is a slip in place, backward point, cover sort of right in the middle of the pitch, back on the 30-yard circle, straight extra cover, long off his back, short fine leg, man just in front of square leg, mid on inside the circle, and a deep mid wicket as Linder is in, and Jason Roy defends back up the pitch, and there is no run.
Just going to ask you a question, Butch. Do you think it could have worked if Buttler took the first ball?
Yes, absolutely. With all the planning, and that we've seen messages being flashed onto the field from England's statistician at the back end of England's innings, they didn't work, that's for sure. As Linder is in again, and that's wide of off stump, and Roy flat bats it, sort of bottom edge, I suppose, and it just bumbles its way down to long off and Jason Roy is off strike and out of the firing line in the second ball of the innings. One without loss.
Just looks as if this pitch, the ball's coming on a little bit better than what it did on Friday night. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's coming on a lot better than it did in the first 6 or 7 overs of South Africa's innings. England employed a lot of cutters, and Adil Rashid got the ball to grip. But George Linder has had 2 deliveries that have just scooted straight on at Jason Roy, and another one that goes straight onto the middle of the bat of Josh Butler as he plays it to, I think that might be Lothar Simpala at mid-on, and there is no run. Linder places the ball carefully into his left hand, and then those 2 jaunty steps and a pivot over the right foot. Butler chops it down into the ground, and Quinton de Kock collects behind the stumps.
Certainly like the look of Linder. He just looks as if he's got the temperament, as if he's, he just knows his game inside out. Very comfortable bowling in the power play.
And he goes again, and that's a little slower and drifts in towards the leg stump of Butler, who almost turns the hands on it too soon. It's a leading edge, but a thick one that finds its way to mid-on, and again there's no run. 1 ball left of the first. England 1 without loss, and it's another slow start for the Roy-Butler axis at the top of the order. Butler, a couple of taps, bends the knees, and on the back foot punches it at extra cover straight to Faf du Plessis. It's the end of an excellent over from George Linder. England 1 without loss.
Fantastic over by George Linder. I mean, he's certainly not letting his skipper down, taking that first over. I know it's an easy over to bowl because the batters are having a look at stuff, but he's done fantastically well in these first 3 games that he's played for South Africa.
Just getting a look at the career numbers of Jason Roy and Josh Butler. 38 matches, 875 runs, a strike rate of 144 for Roy. Josh Butler, 74 matches, 1,484 runs, a strike rate 139.6. Most of those 74 caps for Josh Butler would have been outside the top 2. Looks very much as though England have settled upon the idea of Josh Butler as one of their 2 openers. Jason Roy holds that position down at the moment. Johnny Bairstow might be interested in wrestling it back off him though, as Henrik Nortje charges in towards Roy. It's full and it comes off the bottom of the bat. He tries to punch it through the offside, but rather cruds it off the toe of the blade, and it's fielded by extra cover, and there's no run.
Just got away with it, the bowler there, bowling 91 miles an hour, and it just shows you in what kind of form Jason Roy's in at the moment, because he's missed out on a whole volley there. And he'll definitely feel as if he's missed out. Because Jason Roy in form would have whacked that to extra cover before.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, excuse me. Not only has he missed out, but I think he's just smashed one of his favourite blades.
There'll be about 10 in his bag, don't worry.
There will be a few. And I suppose you've got to really like one to be the number 1 out of the bag of 10. But there's going to be a delay here as the South African fielders congregate, and Faf du Plessis has a word with Henrik Nortje, whose speeds have been right up there. 59% of his deliveries have been above 145 kilometres per hour. So it's pushing 90 and above in old money. And Jason Roy has gone all the way out to the boundary edge to go and collect a yellow-handled blade to replace the broken favourite. Nortje has registered the fastest ball in the series so far, 152.5 kilometres per hour. That was back in Paarl. Jofra Archer not far behind, 149.2. And Chris Jordan right up there as well. That ball is too straight from Nortje, and it's flipped away behind square from Jason Roy. Nice piece of timing. And the England pair will come back for a couple. 3 without loss.
Just looking for a bit of shape and just getting a little bit too greedy. Sliding down leg side. They've got the slip in place, so fair enough, is looking for that shape. I still wanted to see him just go that off-stump channel and just see if he can bring that slip into play, really.
Haven't seen an enormous amount of orthodox swing. In fact, I'd go as far as to say 0 orthodox swing in the series so far. Ball is back of a length, and Roy has hard hands at it and drills it to mid-on, and again there's no run. The white balls used to swing, didn't they, Alphonse? I seem to remember playing against you and you hooping the new white ball around, but not anymore.
No, it doesn't anymore. And there was a time in Cape Town where teams went there and they would bowl second because it used to swing a lot at night. But these balls nowadays are probably swings for 1 or 2 balls at best. Gets whacked to the boundary and all of a sudden there's no swing.
Nokia is in, and that's quick. And really good line as well. Tight to the off stump, and Jason Roy gets a thick outside edge down to third man for a single.
There's the kind of line that we're looking to bowl to Jason Roy at the moment. Just on off stump, fourth stump, trying to bring that slip into play. Guys out of form, you don't want to give him any easy balls to hit and just to get him going, really, because he's a dangerous guy. If you give him a couple of freebies just to get him going, he will take you apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And when Jason Roy is sort of down and doubting himself, you try and capitalise on that, as Nokia is into Josh Butler now, who punches another ball off the back foot straight to Temba Bavuma at extra cover. He's now 5 deliveries without getting off the mark, and once again, as we've seen in the previous 2 T20 internationals, South Africa starting well with the ball. It's not been the way they've started that's been the problem. It's been what's happened beyond the 14th, 15th over that's cost them the 2 matches so far.
It's a death bowling, isn't it? Death bowling, if you can't get it right, that's where games are won and lost.
No, they've certainly got it right at the back end with the bat today at Newlands. 192 to win from England as Nokia is in. Short ball at Butler, and that has rocked him, and somehow Josh Butler has got enough bat on it to get it past mid-wicket. They'll come back for a couple, but Butler very nearly lost his balance and trampled all over his stumps there in the course of playing that pull shot. And after 2 overs, England are uncomfortably 6 without loss.
That was a quick bounce. It's 92 mile an hour, and Josh Butler nearly knocked over his thumbs as he was trying to execute that pull shot. But I can see Nokia's definitely got his tail up here, having to take over that mantle from Kagiso Rabada.
Yep, news out of the South African camp after we were informed of the 11s, or the changes to the 11. Kagiso Rabada was going to sit this one out because of a niggle. It's turned out that it's more than that. He has an adductor strain and won't play in the ODI series, as Linda is in to Jason Roy, who gives himself room outside a leg stump, and with the spin lofts it over extra cover. Faf du Plessis clears up at wide long off, and they come back for 2.
It's a good sign for England that Joe Roy not trying to hit this too hard, just helping it over, just waiting for the ball to come to him, just helping it over wide mid off for 2.
Slip is out now, and Linda is in once more, and that's straighter. Jason Roy cuts it off middle and leg stump, the top of middle and leg stump, well, not really turning.
This is a good contest now, Butch. This is a good contest, yes.
It is, and you just feel that the bowler's got the upper hand, I think. Jason Roy is taking a lot of risks to score not very many runs. I mean, it was well executed, the 2 over long off, but there was a heck of a lot of risk involved for 2. As Roy tries to smash this one over mid-wicket, comes off the inside edge of the bat and dribbles out to backward square leg. And Roy is fretting a little, you can sense it.
He's fidgety, isn't he? You'll just wonder whether Butler shouldn't go and have a chat with him and just say to him, listen, there's enough time in this.
Linda in again, and flatter and at leg stump, and Jason Roy gets down on his back leg, sweeps it between the 2 fielders behind square on the leg side, and that'll run away for a boundary. And bowler error there, 2 straight. In fact, it was wide down the leg side, and Roy had a free hit at it.
And as a bowler, you'll be a little bit annoyed with this because he's not made it difficult for him. Quite easy, sliding down leg side, Jason Roy getting down on one knee and sweeping it behind square leg for 4.
Yep, first boundary of the innings, and Linder is in. This time he drags it down wide of off stump, and Roy can only find Reza Hendricks at extra cover. Plenty of chirp from the South African fielders. Nothing much from Quintin de Kock behind the stumps, but that should come as little surprise to those who know him. His number 27, Linder, is in, and oh, that's been hit beautifully. Jason Roy, half a step down the ground, and has absolutely mullered that down the ground, straight back over the bowler's head. Towering 6 for Roy, and he's won the battle for now. 18 without loss from 3.
Fantastic shot from J. Roy. Quick feet, got to the pitch of it, and that's a good sign for England if they're going to chase a score down.
Yeah, no spin, no grip from Linder. And once Jason Roy had got to the pitch of the ball, or not too close to it that he was cramped for but just got alongside the ball, he swings that mighty blade and those big shoulders, and the ball disappears out of the ground. Linder is furious with himself at the finish to what had been a decent over, and England are on their way. Jos Buttler awaits Henrik Nortje smoothly in and hits the crease hard, and Jos Buttler has hit it with interest over mid-wicket for 6. That's unceremoniously dumped out of the ground by Jos Buttler. Minimum fuss, maximum return.
Dismissive. He's just stood there, picked the length, and just slapped it over cow corner. That's just Jos Buttler at his best, picking up the ball early.
That's almost obscene, Alfonso. It really is. That ball had absolutely no right to end up over mid-wicket for 6.
It's a guy that's bowling 90 plus mile an hour.
Oh boy, extraordinary hitting as Nortje goes again. What's the answer? Similar delivery, really. Same ball, but Jos Buttler perhaps expecting something different, gave himself a bit of room outside a leg stump and just knocked the ball into the offside for a single. But there was, well, scarcely any difference at all from the first ball that went for 6 and the second that has gone for a single.
Got such good hands, Jos. Just has his base, sets it early, picks the length up, and his hands are just phenomenal.
Here into Roy. Roy drills it back at the bowler, who gets a hand on it, manages to parry it into the path of Simpala, and there is no run. Jason Roy hit that very hard indeed, and Nortje's right hand will be ringing.
You gotta love Joe. He just thinks he should be hitting every ball for 4 or 6. He's timed that, played it really nicely on the front foot, and he's just annoyed with that.
You know, if I played cards, if I was a poker player, I'd like to play against Jason Roy, because he gives you every clue as to what is going through his mind. Every single ball, you can tell what he's thinking. It's not like Steve Waugh or somebody like that, whose face was implacable, gave absolutely nothing away, whether he was going great guns or feeling terrible. And Jason Roy will let you know. As Nortje is in again. See him angle towards the leg side. Oh, that's straight, and it's full, and it's gone.
Out.
The umpire Jelly gets the finger up. Jason Roy might think about reviewing this, but I think he's gone. That's beaten him for pace. It was quick. The ball was fuller, and I think that it's going to knock leg stump out of the ground. And I think Jos Buttler agrees with me.
Just looks as if it could be an umpire's call, even if it does refer it. It's probably hitting leg stump on umpire's call. I'm going to go for. Let's see if I'm right. If I'll can make a good umpire.
See if either of us have anywhere near getting our white coats on. I think that's out. I reckon that's hit 3/4 of the way up leg stump and has sent it cartwheeling back towards Quintin de Kock. It was a quick delivery. Nortje, for the first time really in the innings, has gone fuller than back of a length, and it was quick, it was straight, and it was good enough for Jason Roy. He's gone for 16, and England have lost their first with a score on 25. 152 kilometres per hour. It's up there with the quickest we've seen all series from Henrik Nortje. Haven't seen a replay yet, so we can't tell you how good Alfonso Thomas is as an umpire, but what we can tell you is that Dawid Malan, England's hero of the run chase at Boland Park, is out there in the middle, scratching out his guard.
This is going to be key for England now, because if you go back to the first game, we felt that Dawid Malan was putting a lot of pressure on Butler when he was just chewing up dot ball after dot ball after dot ball. So he can't afford to be starting too slow here and then put Joss under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, he had time, didn't he, at Boland Park to sort of get himself in and get used to conditions, because the run chase was a relatively small one, 146, but not so this evening as Nortje is in, slip in place, it's short and pulled away by Malan. Oh, he's absolutely nailed that. He has hit that very, very hard indeed. It was a quick ball. Malan, perhaps sensing that it was coming, swiveled on that ball aimed at his right hip and has smashed it away for 4. First ball, game on.
I just think the captain will be annoyed with his fast bowler here. He's gone to give him the slip and he's gone for the short ball, which is the same ploy they tried on Sunday. But I just think Malan would have been waiting for that, and I would have liked to have seen him just try to bring that slip into play.
Short again, and Malan ducks out of the way. Nortje looks towards the square leg umpire. I think it's been given as a wide. Umpire Jelly signals that it's one for the over as well. So wide
harsh,
must mean line, right? Because otherwise it's a no ball if it was height. And I'm with you. I think that is harsh.
We're looking at the replay now of hitting wickets, hitting leg stump.
3/4 of the way up leg stump. Yep. Easy umpiring, no problem at all.
I'm quite surprised by Butch putting on his batter's hat and then still giving it out. I genuinely would have thought that he would have gone, no, that's going down leg.
No, eyes are eyes. Doesn't matter whether you've got your bowling boots on or your batting boots, and of course, I'm in both camps.
Of course, yeah.
And Jason Roy has to go, and it's nicked, and the slip has been taken out. Henrik Nortje has gone around the wicket. He's removed the slip, pitched the ball up. Malan has nicked it straight through where first slip would have been, and it's brought him a second boundary. So an over which has yielded 15 runs, but also the wicket of Jason Roy, and Dawid Malan is off and running.
That's exactly the type of ball I would have wanted to see. The first couple of balls to Malan, he had the slip in place. He's gone short the first two, takes the slip out, he goes good leg outside off stump. Yeah. Don't get me started.
Brains of a rocking horse is what you're trying to say.
But not all bowlers are like that, Butch.
No, of course not. Present company absolutely accepted. 34 for 1 England in pursuit of 192. Joss Butler is 9 from 8 deliveries, and 6 of those 9 came in an extraordinary stroke off Henrik Nortje's first ball of his second over. A length ball just disappeared over mid-wicket for 6 with minimum fuss. But George Linder is out of the attack, and will be Lutho Simpala in for his first bowl of the series. Number 65 on his back, bustles into Butler, who aims through extra cover but gets the inside edge of the bat on it, and the ball goes out towards Lungi Ngidi, who picks up at mid-wicket, and England will pick up a single. 35 for 1.
Yeah, our first look at Sapamla in the series, I think he's only playing his 4th or 5th game in his career. And what I'm told is he's got a good strong action, quite skiddy. He's got all the variations. So I would probably think is the type of bowler that they'll be looking to target. But at the same time, it gives him opportunities to pick up 1 or 2 wickets.
Field in place for Dawid Malan. 3 men in a ring on the offside, backward point, cover, extra cover, mid-off inside the circle. As Malan just removes a glove. In fact, no, it wasn't Malan, it was Butler. Removes a glove and just rubs it on the dirt behind the crease at the non-striker's end to soak up a bit of sweat. And there appears to be a delay. I can't tell you what that's for. So Pamela is looking frustrated, as though he's absolutely desperate to get into the action, tossing the ball from one hand to the other. But, umpire Palika is just holding up play at the moment. Long on is going back on the fence now in terms of the onside field. So third man is now up inside the circle, and we have a free hit. Must have been a front foot no ball. All kinds of confusion out there in the moment. The umpires don't seem to have any sort of clue what's going on, and so unfortunately we've got absolutely no chance.
If it wasn't for the amount of fielders outside the circle.
6. The free hit has been smashed by Dawid Malan. There's another short ball on Malan's hip, and he's got inside it and just helped it over fine leg for 6 runs. He's now remonstrating with the umpire at the standing end for something that has gone on and put him off behind the bowler's arm. It didn't seem to make that much of a difference, because that has disappeared 3 or 4 rows back down towards where the players emerge from the pavilion.
I'm just not convinced about this ploy. This is the same ploy they tried on Sunday to go short to Malan, and he just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't look as if it's facing him at the moment.
Again, short and at the hip, and Malan this time takes a hand off the bat and just rides it to Nortje at short fine leg. He fumbles a couple of times, but there is no run. 42 for 1. England rattling along nicely here. And I guess if you match up the two teams in terms of experience, you've got all of that depth in England's batting lineup, with Morgan coming in at 6 and Stokes in before him, Bairstow before that. You match it up with South Africa's relatively inexperienced bowling lineup, and you'd say that England will fancy their chances. Pamela is fuller this time. Malan, as he does, not much movement forward, just allows the ball to come to him, kills it at his feet, and turns the strike over to Jos Buttler. 43 for 1.
Just looking at Dawid Malan's faced 5 balls and he's 15 or 5, and I can't think of any ball that he's had to work for those runs. I think they've made it very easy for him to get off to a good start.
Yeah, he's absolutely off to a flyer. Just reminding us on screen that Dawid Malan is number 1 in the world rankings, as Sir Pamela is in to Jos Buttler. It's full, and that ball surprises Buttler, zips past his outside edge and surprises Quinton de Kock, who clangs it behind the stumps. De Kock sort of closes and opens his eyes as if to say he's not picked that up particularly well. But a misstroke from Jos Buttler.
So Pamela looking to go a touch fuller. Looks as if it was a cross-seam delivery, and I think both batsman and keeper just missed it completely, just didn't pick it up.
Right about the length, as Sir Pamela is in once more. He's gone full again, and Buttler whips this off middle and off stump down to Shamsi, the fine leg, and they pick up a single. It was the full ball that did for Jason Roy, having looked reasonably comfortable against the back of the length stuff. Full ball that's got past Buttler and worried Quinton de Kock behind the stumps. It was a full ball that Dawid Malan nicked through slip. South Africa need to cotton on pretty quickly to either go really short or get the ball right up there.
Don't get me started on all these variations and thoughts on tactics and stuff, but
full again. Slower ball this time from Sir Pamela, and it's clipped neatly off the toes of Malan out to square leg, and they'll pick up another single. 5 overs gone. England going along nicely. 9 runs and over. 45 for 1. Jason Roy is the man out. South Africa after 5 overs with 36 for 1 and finding the going a little tougher. And it was my feeling towards the back end of South Africa's innings that the pitch conditions have changed somewhat under lights, and nothing that I've seen in the run chase so far will tell me that I'm wrong in that assessment, Alfonso.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. I just think it looks a lot better wicket in terms of batting wise than what it looked on during the first T20 game, which in itself will cause a bit of a challenge for the likes of Shamsi that's going to come on, who didn't have a good game on a wicket that it was turning on Friday night. So there's going to be a big challenge for him to try and get it right for his team tonight.
Lungi Ngidi is into the attack for the final over the power play. And that's hit Milan on the shins. Umpire has given him out, but I think that's pitched outside the leg stump.
I'm going to go pitch outside leg stump.
As a left-hander, no movement back in towards the left-handed batsman, and the length just looked too short for it to pitch in line. We will see, because Dawid Malan has made the same assessment and has challenged umpire Jelly and sent it upstairs to umpire Holdstock in the third umpire's chair.
Could also be one of those umpires called pitching in line, which I can't really understand. It's either pitching in line or it's not.
Yeah, the ball, you've got to have just over half the ball, just over a third of the ball on the pitching on the tram line. Well, I guess if anything pitches on the tram line and the umpire's giving it out, that decision should stand. But the ball does just deck back in towards Dawid Malan. But I still think that it's pitched outside. There's definitely no edge involved. The ball has hit Dawid Malan a good 6 inches below the knee roll. There's no doubt that it would smash into the stumps. But here's the telling one. Yeah, it's outside by 3 inches. Maybe outside. 2. But yeah, it's a poor decision from the standing umpire. And Dawid Malan lives to fight another day.
Definitely my kind of umpire, though.
Well, yeah, I mean,
giving me the benefit of the doubt.
County game. Pack your bags, you're on your way, Dawid Malan. There's no coming back for that. But the DRS doing exactly what it's there to do. Clears up an obvious error from the umpire, and no harm is done. 45 for 1, and Ngidi into Milan once more. This is wide of off stump, and Milan loves that, absolutely loves that. He can put those away in his sleep through cover. It's a poor ball from Ngidi, and England rattle on to 49 for 1.
Yeah, that ball didn't have a lot going for it. Short, wide, outside off stump. And for the #1 T20 batsman in the world, that's absolutely money for jam, as I would say.
Well, it's been a good 10 years since I picked up a bat or swung one in anger, and I backed myself to hit that for 4. It was about as perfect as you could want it for a square cut for a left-hander. And this time he's got Fuller on the drive to extra cover. Picked out the fielder, who was back on the edge of the circle, and England bring up their 50. Milan 21 from just 9 balls. Josh Buttler, who's again not seen a great deal of the strike, is 11 from 11. And England moving along nicely.
I just think from a South African point of view, Ngidi was looking to take that mantle from KG Rabada. He's not had a great RPL. He went for over 10s, and in this series so far he's gone at 11 and over. So in terms of confidence, he's quite low at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. He just bowls a lot of bad balls. It's a leg stump half volley that Buttler works into the leg side, but he'll bowl a decent enough over. 4 balls of the over, perfectly serviceable, and then just serve up a rank long hop or a wide half volley and ruin all the good work.
I'll definitely have to agree with you there. But also he looks as if he's unfit. He doesn't look fit to me at the moment. It does look as if he's carrying a little bit of excess weight, so to speak. It looks as if he's wintered well, as we would say over here in England.
Ngidi is in. The arms flapping around in delivery stride, and Milan just runs that length ball on off stump down to third man for a single. 52 for 1. He's a big man, Lungi Ngidi, that is for sure. And he has had his injury issues. And there was a time when he was talking about being one of the quickest bowlers in the world. I think that those days have passed him. I think we're going to see that again from Lungi Ngidi. But he does have certain attributes, height and a bit of genuine pace. But there's that bad ball. It's a rank, slower ball, full toss. Josh Buttler just says thank you very much and pings it through extra cover for 4. That's the end of the 6th, the end of the power play. England are 56 for 1.
Again, last ball of the over. He's gone for 7. Had to just try and get out of the over, get out of the power play for his team. Ball's on low full toss, and Buttler absolutely no problem dispatching that for 4 through extra cover.
South Africa versus England live on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Feel it all and watch every England Test, ODI and T20 live and exclusive on the dedicated Sky Sports cricket channel.
Fantastic first 6 overs for England in the chase. They find themselves 12 runs ahead of South Africa after the power play period. And of course we know how South Africa finished their innings, so if England can reduce the need for that electric finish, then they will do themselves a favour. Linder is going to bowl his 3rd over of the innings to the left-handed Malan. He's going to come left arm around the wicket. It's outside of leg stump. Malan tries to just turn it into the leg side and can't time it. And there is no run. Malan 22 from 11. Buttler 16 from 13. Jason Roy, the man to go. LBW to Amrik Nortje, 16 from 14. That was with the score 25 for 1. Linder around the wicket once again, turned into the onside by Malan. There's no one inside the circle, so Bavuma has got to come all the way off of the boundary, but it is only a long single, 57 for 1. Alex Tudor's come in alongside me. Very, very solid stuff from England so far, Tudes.
Yeah, looking good. Disappointing for Jace. Obviously, he would have liked for him to go on, but Nortje just did him for pace, just sheer pace. Just got through his defences there and he was walking back.
Buttler to face Linder. Left arm around the wicket, it's outside of off stump. Buttler weight on the back foot, punches out to the cover sweeper, Amrik Nortje, and there's just a single.
Well, lads were talking about Ngidi, about the runs he leaks. The one thing he does do though, he takes wickets. Even in the IPL where he was quite expensive, every time he played, he got 2 or 3 wickets on a regular basis.
Malan waits, hammers this off the back foot into the offside. Won't be Van der Dussen, who is the sweeper out on the boundary, and it's just a single. 3 singles from 4 balls in this over so far.
And that's why the captains most probably stick with him, because even though he does leak, he does take wickets. So, I mean, listen, in short games, it's not good. When you're, chasing 191, you've got other guys that can maybe step in.
Buttler waits, plays the reverse. For the first time in about 3 years, I think, Josh Buttler's actually failed to make proper contact with the reverse. He is the absolute master of that shot, reaching out and trying to flick it round through third man, but I think it's actually taken the back of the bat. Blobs out on the offside and they'll take a single. 192 the target for England to win this series 3-0. Linder is in. Malan's down the pitch, pushing it back past the bowler. Goes past Josh Buttler at the non-strikers, and they will take a single. That's the over completed with 5 singles for Linder. He's bowled 3 overs for 18. 61 for 1 are England after 7. So it's 131 runs from 78 balls the requirement. Choose, just before you give us your thoughts on this, towards the end of the South African innings, we mentioned that the England analyst was putting messages up by using clipboards with numbers and letters on. Social media is full of this. Asking a question, is that in the spirit of the game? Because you remember years ago, Bob Woolmer tried an earpiece and there was an absolute outcry. So is that in the spirit of the game? And does Owen Morgan, a World Cup winning captain, really need messages being passed to him?
I have to say I'm not a fan, and I just think it just mistakes of guys just trying to get a little bit too clever and seeing what they can maybe possibly get away with. I'm not a fan of that. As you rightly said, Owen Morgan, what help does he need, really? He can see it from all out there. He's a very tactical captain anyway, and he's always thinking. I just think sometimes it's the analyst in it. He has to be seen to be doing something, and they're paying a wage in it. It's like he's got a job out there. He's got to be seen to do something. He's most probably been away during lockdown thinking, what can I come up with? And this is what he's come up with. Foolishness.
Shamsi into the attack, fresh off the back of his T20 career best figures in international cricket, a 3 for 19 at Pal, and he starts with a perfectly respectable ball that David Malan has gone on the reverse and hit him through backward points away for 4 runs. So he starts with a boundary, and England put 4 more to the total.
Yeah, and there's that man, David Malan again. You know, he's got a good range of shots and putting pressure on Shamsi, who's going to be important for South Africa during this second period while they're trying to, you know, not allow England to get these runs. But David Malan putting him under pressure, first ball going for a boundary.
65 for 1. Malan carves this one into the offside. Nortje will field on the cover boundary. Malan is disappointed with himself because it was a pretty rank ball, if the truth be known, but he wasn't able to time it, and they're only able to take it for a single. 66 for 1, 5 off the first 2 balls, and the field swaps for the right-handed Butler.
And again, he goes about his business. Already he's 30 off 16. And, you know, you look at his career strike rate, it's actually 144, and you most probably wouldn't think that of David Malan.
The world #1 player in this form of the game. There's still a feeling he's not nailed down a position in this side. Butler carves, and it's landed just short of the fielder at backward point. Weight on the back foot. He was trying to hit it conventionally off the back foot, took the outside edge, and it landed just short. They've got 2 fielders about 10 yards apart at sort of short third man backward point, and it lands just short of both of them.
His wrist again.
Shamsi, left arm wrist spin. Butler's waiting for this, clips it down to short fine leg. There's a yes-no. Malan's always coming. Butler eventually goes, and short fine leg. Sapamla has fumbled it, so what would have been a difficult run-out opportunity disappears in a puff of smoke, single taken.
I think it was Ngidi, you know. I think it was. They picked their fielder. Alfonso's all over him. Look at him. He's not happy. Put on a few pounds, and Christmas coming up.
Shamsi over the wickets of Malan. Malan is opening the face of the bat. It is Ngidi, with my apologies to Sapamla. It is a single taken. Nothing he can do about that one. It's push and run. 5 balls of the over gone. 7 on the board. 4 from the first ball, and then 3 singles. England 68 for 1. It's TalkSport 2. There's football following us this evening. QPR against Bristol City, exclusively in the EFL, in the Championship. Oh, Jos Buttler's got a rank ball here that he's managed to flay to Nortje for a single. I mean, he gave it the absolute treatment and didn't get it properly, and it goes away to deep backward square leg. 8 overs completed. England trying to make 192, 69 for 1.
Yeah, he's got away with that, Shamsi. Absolute filth long up. Butler could have put it anywhere. It might have got to a point where he's even tried to hit it too hard, and he's just, the hands have sort of lost a little bit on the grip of the bat, and bat's just turned, not hit it in a sweet spot, and as you said, he's got away with one there, just getting a single. That could have been out of the ground if he would have connected with it with the strength and power that he possesses.
5 4s and 3 6s for England in the power play. Linder then to bowl his final over of the evening. Butler is waiting, opening up his body to hit into the offside. Bavuma will field at short cover, and there's no run. Linder with 0 for 18 so far. He's opened the bowling in all 3 games. Butler straight away goes on the reverse, and his weight almost drags him out of the crease. Quinton de Kock is waiting with the gloves by the stumps with ball in hand, just going, are you going to overbalance? Are you going to overbalance? I'll whip the bells off if you do. And Jos Buttler is just able to keep his weight in the crease. And I tell you what, it was not by much. He managed to roll his foot back and get the studs over the line. Short, hammered into the offside on this occasion by Butler for a single. Nortje fields. England 70 for 1.
I think only one stud was behind there, Macca, really, wasn't it? Again, it's those margins, isn't it? It's the difference.
The interesting thing is, I was reading that Linda, even for his province, doesn't normally open the bowling in T20s, but Quinton de Kock likes it as a theory, and so he's backed his man. Linda goes in. Oh, that's a glorious shot by David Malan. He's beaten the man at short cover, and Rassie van der Dussen, as good at form as he's in with the bat this evening, can't do anything with the field. That's a glorious shot by David Malan. It's away for 4, 74 for 1. Malan goes to 35 from 18 balls faced.
And that's the confidence that the young man's showing at the moment, and that's why at the moment he's number 1 in the world. Absolutely time the pants off that. Fantastic shot. He's given himself a little bit of room leg side. Linda's just sort of thrown it outside off stump, and he just let the hands go with it. Fantastic connection. Coverfield had no chance.
49 partnership for these two. They'll push it and they will get it to 50. Will they make it to 51? Are they going to come back? They're taking on Bavoom is on. Oh, it's a run out. Totally unnecessary, as long as Quinton de Kock has taken the ball cleanly, and I don't think he has, because he's holding his hands up as if to say, sorry lads, my bad. He's broken the bails without the ball in his hands, and I'm going to be really harsh on him. There was no need, because David Malan wasn't in the frame. There was a yes-no. Were they coming back for the second? They did come back for the second. The ball has bounced up. It's hit the heel of Quinton de Kock's hands, and then without the ball in his hands, he takes the bails off, and David Malan is 1.5 yards out of his ground. Now, that they might be looking at, is the ball actually tucked into Quinton de Kock's arm? Has he sort of got it under control in his body? Because he's definitely not in his gloves. I think that ball's loose. You can't give that any way, shape or form.
It's not out, Matt. It's not out. It's no chance. He's missed it. He's totally misread the bounce. It was a great piece of fielding from Timber Bavuma, the one man you most probably don't want to take on. He's so quick across the ground. And, David Malan was struggling. It was a good throw, but he's just mistimed it. It's hit his wrist, and then it's gone up into sort of his armpit, and he's taken off the bells, and he straight away put his hands up, said, no, I've messed up. Sorry, lads. Let's carry on.
Well, I'll tell you what, Adrian Holdstock is having shall we say, a very long look at this. I cannot understand.
Don't know why.
How we're still waiting. All the fielders are still looking at the big screen, and it says decision pending. I can only assume that there's a problem with the big screen, because Adrian Holdstock surely cannot be thinking about that still. Right now he's pressed the button and it says not out, as we all knew about 40 seconds ago.
It's like waiting for VAR, isn't it? I mean, you see it and you're just like, it's not a penalty. It's not offside.
Come on, lads, we've got a football commentary following this. We need to get a move on. Linda is in, left arm around the wicket once again. Malan pushing into the onside. So they got 2 for that in the end. They take the partnership to 51 from 33. That will now become 52 from 34 as Malan pushes out on the leg side. And he goes to 38. England 77 for 1 from 9 overs. It means England needs a small matter of 115 in 66 balls to win this game. It's a difficult ask, but this side, you would not put it past them at this stage, Alex Tudor.
No, with the length of batting that they have, as you said, you've got Rashid coming in at 11. Everybody bats and everybody can clear the boundary. So as long as these two have that sort of partnership, that Van der Dussen and Fafad, they've got every chance.
10th over, Shamsi will start. That's down the leg side, and Malan is going to help it on its way, and it's not going to be cut off by Linda at short fine leg, and that will go away for 4. And Malan goes to 42 from 21. He has had, 3 cracking games for England. They're now up to 81 in the innings, 81 for 1. Malan 19 in the first game, 55 in the second. He's closing in on another half century in this one.
He's been unbelievable, and he just goes about his business, doesn't he? 42 off 21. Fantastic batting from Malan.
Shamsi's left arm wrist spin. Malan opening the face of the blade, guides it to point, and they set off and take a single. Comfortable as you like. 82 for 1.
He's like, drop me at your peril. I mean, he's been given the opportunity, and he's taken it. He's absolutely taken it. And everyone, as you said, the people on the fringes, you've still got Joe Root, who's itching to get into this side. But while this man is scoring runs, and he's number 1 in the world at T20 cricket, can't have him out the side.
Shamsi to stay over the wicket to Jos Buttler. No one inside the circle on the leg side. Shamsi plays it to Butler. Butler turns on the onside. It would have been straight to a mid-wicket on the edge of the circle, but Bavuma will have to come off the fence and do the fielding. It's a single to Jos Buttler. He's 22 from 22, a runner ball for Jos Buttler. He's just feeding David Malan at the moment, and why wouldn't you?
It's like roles reversed, though. That's something that you would expect of Malan.
Yeah, absolutely. Malan waits. Shamsi bowls to him. Stays deep in his crease. Pushes on the onside. Again, it's out towards mid-wicket. Shamsi will go after it himself because there's no one in the circle. It is only a single. 84 for 1. After 9 overs and 4 balls, so we're approaching the halfway mark. Remember, at the halfway mark, South Africa was 66 for 3. So England are getting on for 20 runs in front. But that acceleration towards the end of the innings, they want to take out the equation. They don't want to rely on something similar. Shamsi in. That doesn't really turn. It's out there to be hit. And Jos Buttler has drilled it straight to Rassie van der Dussen at short extra cover. That looked like it had 4 written all over it, and it goes down in the scorebook as a 0.
And he's got away with one there. As I said, rank long up again. He smashed it extremely hard. Van der Dussen all over it.
Final ball of the over. Butler plays gently into the onside. They take 1. Bavuma will come off of the boundary, and they've seen his throw already recently, so they're not going to take that one on. Halfway mark is reached. 85 for 1 are England as we reach the halfway mark. 192 is the total they are chasing to win this game. You're listening to South Africa against England on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. You can watch every England Test, ODI and T20 live and exclusive on their dedicated Sky Sports cricket channel. Well, taking wickets in T20 games is vital. It slows run rates. It means that batsmen aren't set, and we saw that with South Africa. When you get 2 men set, you give yourself a chance. And now they're seeing it being done to them. They've got to find a way of breaking this partnership, Alex Tudor, haven't they?
Yeah, they do. Both are very dangerous. As you say, Butler's just going about his business, just giving David Malan most of the strike because he's going nicely, as you say, 44 off 23 deliveries faced. Just goes about his business extremely well, very well organised. He gives England that option at the top of the order being left-handed, and he's batting extremely well. And as you say, as long as Butler's still there, always got a chance.
Lutho Sapamla on his way for his second over, the right arm seamer, and Jos Buttler has just clattered this one straight, well, I was about to say into the leg side, but it's over the leg side, straight into the building site at Cow Corner. Welcome back to the bowling crease. Now go and fetch it, son. 91 for 1.
And these players, they're experienced and they know their game, and what they do, they will target a bowler. And Sapamla, being young, not had a lot of experience in only his 6th game, Jos is saying, I'm having a piece of you, young man. I'm sorry. Unfortunate that you're new to cricket, but I don't care. You're going in the bush. And he's absolutely fetched that long off. I mean, that's gone, 90-odd metres back?
93, they've given
just
that
the 93. Absolutely fantastic shot. And then it's pressure all on Sapamla now. You've got 5 more deliveries. Maybe all at Jos. What you got for me?
Well, because it's gone into the building site, we're not going to be able to retrieve that easily, so the umpires have had to go and fetch another ball. They've got one and agreed that we've got one in a decent kind of state. Faf du Plessis, by the way, is just sitting on the advertising hoarding at the moment, almost as if he thinks, well, actually, I need to actually field in the building site. He hops back over and he's now walking in as Sapamla is on his way for the second ball. Butler's got into the leg side on this one. He's got some height on that one. He's got distance on that one. And that again would be a souvenir 12 rows back. Back-to-back 6s. 97 for 1 are England. Jos Buttler is 35 from 26.
Ooh, on Sapamla, for me, not quite quick enough to be doing this. He's banged it in. Butler's waiting for it. It's just swiveled on his back foot. 80 metres, deep square leg. See you later. 12 off 2. Good luck for the rest of the over. Still 4 deliveries to go.
Malcolm Nash. Stuart Broad. Good afternoon, Stuart. I didn't mean to do that, obviously, but it looks like Jos just fancies this at the moment.
Yeah, This will test the young man. This is where you will see what he's about. You know, pressure situation, international cricket, bowling at one of the most destructive batters in world cricket. You've gone for 2 sixes and 2 balls. You've got 4 balls to try and save yourself. Good luck.
Sir Pamela is on his way. Right arm over the wicket. It's outside of off stump. It's a slower ball. That is beautifully played by Just Buttler. Guides it to backward point, and Geedy will do the fielding on the boundary. And that is a very safe 2. The return doesn't go into the gloves of Quentin de Kock. England looking for an overthrow, but there isn't one. But after the damage of the first 2 sixes, you can quite happily guide that ball to backward point and run 2, because you've got 14 off 3 already.
Yeah, you can. He most probably even got away with one there, really. You know, wide, slower, just rolled his wrist on it. And it gave him width and, you know, as you say, bowlers under pressure.
Slower ball bouncer, and that is well bowled by Sir Pamela. Even Jos Buttler couldn't. Oh, umpire. You've probably got to give it. He's given it as a wide, but actually Sir Pamela has completely defeated Jos Buttler with a slower ball that he wasn't able to deal with, and is given as wide, and he's now got to go back and bowl it again, and the 100 is up. 10 overs and 3 balls, so halfway through the 11th for the 100 for England. Sir Pamela is in. It's a cutter. Jos Buttler carves into the offside, and Ngidi will field single taken. 101 for 1 as Buttler goes to 38 from 28. I remember saying he was 22 from 22 going at a run of ball what seemed like about 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is what, you know, he can do, and, you know, as he said, he has that X factor. But back to Sir Pamela, you know, when you're young and you're playing international cricket, you've got your parents, your friends telling them to watch and everything. You're telling them to turn off at the minute. He's actually quite lucky that people are not able to get into the ground, because you want to see this. I mean, listen, I've been on the back end of it, and Butcher had played in the game when I went for 38 when Freddie had one of those days, and geesh, I had to go into the pub next day. England were playing Argentina. That weren't pretty.
Sir Pamela is in. Milan punching up to long on comfortably for a single. He goes to 45. England 102 for 1. 192 the target, and we are in the 11th over.
I'll take his 17 at the minute, I'll tell you. My 38. I got some stick, let me tell you. Friends, family, all in the pub watching the England game. I did not know it made the Sun newspaper, let me tell you. I did not know it was a county game. I had no idea. Yes, it made the papers. Oh dear.
Sir Pamela, final ball of the over, outside of off stump. Jos Buttler, oh my goodness, what a shot. The man is absolutely incredible. Weight on the back foot, gets his wrists into it. You hear the crack of the bat. It almost sounds like a rifle going off, and that's how quickly the ball speeds away through the covers, along the carpet. It's a slower ball. It's probably disappeared from the bat faster than it arrived at the bat. It goes away for 4 once again.
Again, width, slower cutter. Can't do that, Jos Buttler. His wrists are ridiculous. So strong, the power he has and possesses. And as you said, he was 22 from 22. He's now 42 off. What was he off? 29 or something like 29. That. It's you know, that's how, you know, with these great players, they flick a switch. And so Pamela gave him that. You know, he gave him that switch, and he's taken it, and he's going to take some stopping now.
I'm tempted to ask you, how the heck did Freddie hit you for 38 and over?
Well, you know your cricket, Macca. I bowled a few no balls.
A few? Shamsi is going to start a new over with the ball down leg side. Milan just helps it on its way. He's not full-blooded hitting it, so Ngidi will field at deep square leg, just behind square, and it's just a single. Milan goes to 46, England 107 for 1.
You know the funny thing, Macca? Last ball was a dot ball. It was horrible. Honestly, he hit me for his 6. It was like a check drive into the wind. It was huge. But then there was a small boundary on one side, and I had Nadeem Shahid out there, who's not the tallest, and it was just clearing him.
Okay, it was someone else's fault. Now I get it. Butler has decided he's going to use the boundary and the wind, and he's put this into the pavilion for another 6. And Jos Buttler goes to 48 from 30. Shamsi's gone for 23 runs now. England are ticking these off. It's 113 for 1.
Yeah, he's feeling it. There's Jos, he's in the mood. Sometimes with these great players, it only takes an over or a certain delivery or a way they hit the ball that gets them going. And he's feeling it now. It's pretty much, I don't care who's bowling, you're all going. Fantastic batting from Jos.
Well, South Africa might have picked 6 bowlers in this game, but I don't think many of them will be wanting to bowl much at the moment with the way these two are playing. Shamsi in, left arm wrist spin. It's tight to the leg stump. Buttler is able to flick it down to Ngidi at short fine leg for just a single, which in some respects is a bit of a result, if we're being honest. 114 for 1. Buttler goes to 49. Little race between the two of them. Who can get to 50 first? Malan is the man on strike, and he's 1 shot away from it. 46 from 25 balls. Shamsi's in. Malan gives this some air over cover. Beautiful shot from Malan, and there's no way that Faf du Plessis is going to get around and stop it. So David Malan will win the race to 50. He goes to 50 from 26 balls. England are 118 for 1, and Malan and Buttler are making this look almost easy at the moment here on TalkSport 2.
And he goes again, doesn't he? Just goes about his business. As you say, 50 off 26, striking at 192. You don't really associate that with Malan, but that just shows you the confidence.
7 fours and a 6 as Shamsi comes in. Malan's gone into the leg side this time. He's gone underneath this one. Has he got enough? Yes, he has. So Pamela can't do anything about that. This over has gone 1-6-1-4-6. Shamsi is racking up telephone numbers at the moment, and Malan's got 56 as England move to 124 for 1.
Some serious batting, but at the beginning of the game we were saying, oh, you know, you get 150, 160, you've done well. What do we know? Honestly, it's fantastic. Or it's rubbish bowling. It's great striking from these England players, Malan and Buttler. Just the grounds are just not big enough. They're just not big enough. You know, it's most probably a miss hit.
Final ball of the over. It's just dropped into the offside by Malan. They're set off for a quick single. They will get there as well. 125 for 1 at the end of the 12th. Malan has 57. He'll keep the strike. Jos Buttler has 49 from 31. 12 overs completed. Alfonso Thomas has joined us in the commentary box, looking slightly dispirited from a South African point of view there, Alfonso. Well, we'll pick up Alfonso in a minute. Sorry, we just need to make sure that his mic is working properly.
Am I connected now?
Yeah? Yes, you are connected.
He doesn't want to talk.
I thought you were refusing to at one stage.
He doesn't want to. You can't blame him, bless him.
You can't blame him. It just looks as if Joseph Buttler is in the mood here, you know, and he is an absolute nightmare to bowl to if he's in this type of mood. He's just gone from that Sapamla over. He's just decided, you are not going to bowl to me. I'm not going to allow you to just come in and just bowl an area, and he just took him down, and ever since then he's just gone into 5th, 6th gear.
100 partnership between Malan and Buttler in only 53 balls. 9 fours, 5 sixes. Malan's weighed in with 57 of those. Buttler's contributed 40. Jason Roy, the only man out in the England innings, 16 before he was LBW to Nortje, 25 for 1 in the 4th over, and it is Anrich Nortje who is going to be back into the attack for his 3rd over, and he is back because South Africa need a wicket or 5. He starts with a ball around about off stump. Malan swings hard into the leg side. It can't be fielded inside the circle, so it will go all the way out to the sweeper, who is Sapamla, and Malan will take a couple. So he moves on to 59. England 127 for 1.
And I just thought at the moment, you know, Nokia's come back. Obviously, you know, Ducott saying, look, I need a wicket, go to his strike bowler. But England don't need to take risks with him. With the way they're going, and there's bowlers under pressure, there's no need to try and take this man down. Just, you know, whatever he gives you, take it. And then the rest of the bowlers, you know, it's good luck.
Milan waits. Nortje is in. He actually moves a little bit back away from the stumps, does Milan there. Gets the inside edge of the bat, and it will go down to fine leg for a single. Wasn't necessarily what he was intending to do, but it says 1 in the scorebook, and frankly that's all that matters from his point of view. 128 for 1. England needs 64 from 46 balls, and I can tell you that this is his fastest in a T20 international in terms of a 50. His previous best was 29 balls at Nelson in New Zealand last November. 26 ball 50 today. He's up the non-strikers end, watching Jos Buttler, who is 1 run away from 50 himself. Nortje is in. It's a lowish full toss, driven into the offside. Van Biljon does the fielding at points, and there is no run on this occasion. Halfway through the 13th over, England 128 for 1.
No, I just don't think that they have to take any risks. Yeah, now with Nortje, because if you look at the rest of the bowlers that's still going to come, George Linder has completed his 4 overs. Anrich Nortje is into his 3rd over now. If you look at the likes of Sapamla, who's under the pump going at 16s, Ngidi's bowled 1 over for 11, and Shamsi's going at over 11 and a halves.
Nortje in, outside of off stump, play and a miss from Jos Buttler, and it bounces for a second time before it gets through to Quinton de Kock. There seemed to be a little bit of width there for Jos Buttler on that occasion, but he wasn't able to make contact, and there's no run. 64 needed from 44 balls, and England's current run rate is obviously now more than the required rate. They're currently going at just over 10. They need to be going at about 8 3/4, so they would do this one quite comfortably as it stands. Buttler waits, gets a full bunger from Nortje on this occasion, gets it down to fine leg. Shamsi will do the fielding. They will take 1, and that is a single that gives Jos Buttler a 50, his 10th in this form of the game, and his 3rd against South Africa in South Africa. He's had a quiet series so far, 7 and 22 previously, but he's got himself to 50 from 34 balls today, and I'm sure he's thinking about seeing this through and being there at the end, and if he does that, then his highest T20 international score might be in danger. That is 77 not out. He's at the non-strikers, watching Milan pushing into the offside of the next delivery from Nortje. Single taken. 13 overs have gone. England 130 for 1, trying to chase down 192. Here on TalkSport 2, you are listening to England against South Africa on TalkSport 2. If you're out and about, don't forget the best way to make sure you don't miss a moment of these series and the one-day internationals is the free TalkSport app. Gives you the opportunity to swipe between both TalkSport and TalkSport 2 easily, and you can get it from all good app providers.
So they don't need to take any chances, did they, off Nortje? You know, now you've got the pressure. Who does Quinton de Kock turn to? You know, he needs to get wickets. Does he go to Ngidi? Even though he's an expensive bowler, he does generally take wickets. But I just don't think they'll be able to stop the flow of runs. You know, with Rabada being out now and Nortje not being there. You know, I just don't understand how he stops the flow.
62 needed from 42, and Mark Butcher is going to be in place to take us home.
Ngidi, he's back into the attack. Full ball that Milan drives, drills at mid off inside the circle, but there is no run.
And it's fair to say 6 gun grill Newlands. There's some 6s being gunned here tonight. So the name does look quite suited to the game situation at the moment.
Yeah, apt description. Just giving a little look around the England dressing room. Lots of calm looking faces as Ngidi goes into Milan. Oh goodness me. Oh, just fetch it. Fetch it, throw it back. That's gone miles. That's 15, 20 rows back from Dawid Malan over mid-wicket. Ngidi may well have run his fingers over the ball, may well have tried to take a bit of pace off it, but it doesn't matter what he does at the moment. The ball is just getting pogoed out of the ground.
This is painful to watch now. It's not even 4s. You know, this is balls getting hit out of Newlands, and the bowlers just look as if they've got absolutely no idea of game plans and stuff. I don't see any of the senior players going to the younger bowlers and actually having those kind of conversations. It just looks as if everybody's out there for themselves.
I just think, especially when Mark alluded to at the beginning, it's a used wicket. I just think it's been rubbish bowling all round. I just think they haven't bowled to their plans and adapted really. They're just bowling length balls, these short, slower balls.
Ngidi, full toss, and oh goodness me, well, it just goes from bad to worse for South Africa and Quinton de Kock. The ball has pitched probably 3 or 4 metres behind the stumps, a full toss from Lungi Ngidi. It kicked up a huge puff of dust and earth, and the ball then bounced over the head of Quinton de Kock behind the stumps and has run away for 4 byes. 140 for 1. England in absolute cruise mode here. The partnership is 115 from just 62 balls. Malan has 67 from 34. Butler has just gone past 50, and well, I'm not sure what it's going to take to stop the England train at the moment. Perhaps Table Mountain crumbling into the sea might stop them, but that might be the only thing.
When it's not going your way, it's not going your way. And
Ngidi's in again. Malan gets across his stumps and inside edges this one back into his own pads, and there's no run.
They just look as if there's no clear plan in what they're looking to achieve. I'm now sitting here looking at what they're bowling and what they're looking to do, and I just can't see what the thinking is.
I just think their minds are muddled, and when you get that, you get bad deliveries, and you can't do that against quality players. They will punish you. You'd have to be clear in your mindset. That's why everything pre-game is so important, and when you practice, you can't come into the middle of heated battle against class players and try and change it.
Ngidi wide of the crease this time, gets it full, and again inside edge by way of pad, and Butler scampers through for a single. 141 for 1. I mean, it goes back, it was a conversation we were having at the top of the show about sort of Quinton de Kock and his demeanour as captain. If you've got a relatively unexperienced or inexperienced bowling lineup, and your team keeps losing in tight situations, you need sort of your senior players and your captain to be getting around the field and chatting to these guys and making sure that the plans are all in place and people have clear ideas in their heads. Quinton is behind the stumps, miles away from anywhere. It doesn't say a thing as Ngidi is in. Collects this one. It's a full toss again, this time down the leg side, and it's going to be signalled a wide by umpire Jelly, and so therefore there is no leadership. And I'm not blaming it on Quinton de Kock, but it just seems to me that he's got too much on his plate, and his personality is not suited to being the guy who gets hold of things in the middle for South Africa when it's required.
I just think, Butch, Faf du Plessis, Quinton de Kock, your senior players,
Ngidi, slow ball again, and it's just punched.
Just go and have a conversation with him. Just ask him his plans and stuff. And if you look at the way the first innings went, you had Morgan and you had Jordan, who's the senior bowler, going over to Sam Curran and having a discussion. Where at the moment you can't see anybody doing that.
No, one run, from the previous delivery, 143. But I mean, I guess that's my point. My point is that if Quinton isn't going to do that, then he can't be your captain. I mean, it's as simple as that. He's in your side, of course. He's your best batsman. He's a wonderful, wonderful player. Very talented behind the stumps. But is he a leader of men? I'm not sure that he is.
I don't think he exudes that. He looks like a captain where he doesn't say too much, but then when things are not quite going right, his body language is hands on hips, and it's, when you've got a young and experienced bowler, they don't really need to see that. If you're upset, you can't show that because that's going to then filter into the bowlers, and it's nerve-wracking as it is when you're getting dispatched to all parts. When you've got Butler and Malan going about their business, you need someone who's going to exude a little bit more confidence than what's going on at the minute.
Oh, most definitely. And they, at the moment, if I was the bowler and I turn around and my captain is just standing there, not helping me, not a great body language that he's giving out, you just go, well,
he's gonna. It slaps where the ball's going to all parts. The captain's looking for someone to step up. Nokia's only got one more over. It's like, well, who wants to bowl? The lads are like looking in the stands. Like, I hope you don't look at me.
Hiding.
You know what I mean? You know, they do need a little bit more leadership for me.
Man with the ball in his hand is Tebray Shamsi, who drops one short. Josh Butler, his eyes look up into the heavens as though I haven't got enough of it. Oh yes you have, Josh. Oh yes you have. That's another 6 over the head of Reza Hendricks at deep mid wicket, and the new bowler ends up with an old finish really in terms of this innings. The ball landing outside of the ropes for another maximum.
He's not got every piece of this, has he? Is it like the edge quite top up on the bat, and still goes for 6? If he'd have got that in the middle, that was out of the ground. But as you say, it's a rank long hop again. It's his first ball in the over, and it goes for 6.
Again, it's short, and Butler tries to give himself a bit of room. In fact, the ball was almost too bad to hit for 6 from Tebray Shamsi, if there is such a thing, and he just managed to get enough bat on it to get it down to mid-on for a single.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair to say that Shamsi has not enjoyed Newlands. He went for 4 overs, 40 runs in the first game or something like that, and he's certainly fetching tonight again. You know, in the absence of the big wicket takers and the likes of Tahir, the guys would have looked to him to have actually step up, but he hasn't.
Reverse from Milan. It's through the diving fielder, who's rather Sydney Harbour bridged it at backward point, and that has gone through him for 4. England rattle on to 154 for 1. Dawid Malan now into the 70s, 72 from 37. England need 38 from just 33 deliveries. They are making this into a cakewalk.
It's going to be 3-0, Butch, is what it's going to be. It will need an absolute miracle now, and with the bowlers that he's got left at his disposal, with Nokia only got one more, this game done. I think it's just when does the game finish? What over?
Just end it now for me, please. Just end it now.
Well, it'll be quick. Shamsi has dragged another one wide to the left-handed Milan, and that's been signalled as such. So it's 37 from still 33 deliveries. As Shamsi is in, he walks the first 3 metres of his run up, then a little light skip, and then through into his action. Again, it's short, and the ball does grip and turn quite a long way, which perhaps saves Shamsi from further treatment as Milan pumps it at extra cover and there's no run. Just looking at some numbers here for Dawid Malan: 10 T20 half centuries, only his 19th innings. Short and punished over extra cover, off the back foot from Dawid Malan, and that is another boundary. 159 for 1 now, 76 for Dawid Malan. What a shot that is. But just let me finish. 19 innings for Dawid Malan, 10 T20 international half centuries. The next quickest, Chris Gale, 25 innings.
That's not bad company, is it?
It's not bad company, but it just shows you the level that he's at the minute.
I think that's going to be 6. The ball was up there from Shamsi, and it's out of the ground once again onto another of these beautiful lush grass banks here at Newlands, this time over long on. Dawid Malan is just loving international cricket at the moment, because everyone's a coconut as it comes down the crease. It doesn't matter who bowls it, whether it's pace or spin, it is out of the park. 88 metres this time, and Shamsi can only scratch his head as he collects his cap from the umpire and wanders off disconsolately to his fielding position. England in cruise mode here.
It's fantastic batting, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic. I have to say, it's some rubbish bowling though, but it's fantastic batting. And to be fair, he deserves this because he's putting all the pressure on the bowlers. He's stamping his authority. You don't really associate Milan with being so brutal, but he is in this innings. 82 or 40 balls faced. It's fantastic batting, and these bowlers, these South African bowlers, are looking nervous.
Ngidi full and angled in towards Butler, who just allows the ball to come in and times it out to Temba Bavuma at mid-wicket. England pick up another single. 26 from 29 now, and it's just a case of when and not if England wrap up this series 3-0. Chris Gale, 25 T20 internationals, right? Virat Kohli is next, 29. So David Malan has got to 10 half centuries in T20 internationals in 10 innings faster than Virat Kohli.
Then the GOAT. That's phenomenal.
Edie in short, and Malan carves it over cover. A couple of bounces into the hands of Nortje on the sweeper boundary, and they pick up another single.
I don't want to be disrespectful because, you know, I'm a fellow bowler and I've had my share of lashes. But this is like a benefit game now. This bowling's like a benefit game.
I have to
and
agree
this is
with
international cricket. It's poor because you said
absolutely.
There's no clarity of thought what they're trying to do. They're just running up and bowling. Oh yeah, I'll bowl some cutters. Have you seen a Yorker?
No. It's bowling just to get to the park now.
Edie's in, it's a slower ball, and it's a dot, precious commodity. As Butler decides not to hit it out of the park and just taps it down to backward point for a single.
To get into the bubble to play some Xbox? What's
Now,
this?
fellas, you know, it's got to be said that this England batting lineup has destroyed many a bowling lineup around the world, and we're perhaps being a little flippant at what we're seeing here this evening, because it is some very, very fine batting. And South Africa, they do look shell-shocked, it has to be said. But yeah, I'm not sure about too much of a debrief at the end of this one for South Africa. Just pack the kit up and go. As Ngidi is in. Again, it's another slower ball, fuller of length this time. Much better from Ngidi, who collects the ball off his own bowling, sprints out to very short mid-wicket and picks the ball up, and there's no run. 167 for one.
And you take Rabada, world-class bowler, out of this lineup. Dale Steyn is retired, is he, from international cricket? That's a lot of experience, a lot of wickets, a lot of knowledge, a lot of know-how. You know, these guys have not bowled in a lot of games. I mean, Ngidi has got, what, 14, 15 caps?
This is his 16th game tonight, and one that he might not remember fondly, as the Yorker goes in and Butler digs it out to the man on the cover sweep, and they come through for a single. I mean, you mentioned a name at the top of the show, Alfonso, Imran Tahir. He's not retired from T20 International. He's just not being picked.
He's just not being picked.
Boy, could they do with somebody like him right now.
Of course. And I'll throw another name at you. There's a certain Chris Morris as well, who's also made himself available. Now, are you telling me that he cannot get into the side instead of a Pite van Biljon or something?
Well, he walks in it for me, especially with his batting ability as well.
As Ngidi runs away from us, and it's full again, slower ball, and Malan doesn't make contact through to Quentin de Kock. 16 overs gone, 168 for one, and England are not far away now from wrapping this series up 3-0. Just 24 runs required, run a ball, and England, who were taken to the final over, final deliveries of the final over in the first two T20 internationals, are going to win this one at a canter. Just worth reminding you that we have 3 one-day internationals coming up for you, starting on Friday here on TalkSport 2. We go on air at 11 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and an earlier start on Sunday of 8 o'clock on air. And again, the matches will be shared between Cape Town and the ground in Paarl, the Park Oval there on Sunday. Henrik Nortje to bowl his final over. It's a low full toss. The Butler gives himself a bit of room to and slaps out to the sweeper for a single. And ones will do it for England from here.
And I was just wondering, if I was the Cock, I would have saved Nortje, because I think this game is gone. And the last thing he wants now is to lose him for the one-day series as well. You know, I do think this game is gone.
Yeah,
done and dusted.
Yeah, game's gone. Maybe, you know, get the young boys, Sir Pamela, give them a bit more experience possibly.
Or a few more nightmares. As Nortje is in, it's at the hip of David Malan, who top edges it over his head, over to Cock's head, and a couple of bounces down to the boundary for 4. The cameras pan in on Quentin de Kock's face, and he looks about as dejected as is possible to look. And looking for, we talked about how easy it would be to get a taxi outside Newlands at the moment in comparison to how things are normally. And yeah, the South Africa captain looks like he'd be hopping in the first one he can find and getting out of there.
Get himself an Uber. Back to the bubble.
Nortje in again. Milan stands upright with the bat out behind him, and he times that elegantly to Rassie van der Dussen on the sweep boundary on the offside, and again it's another single.
I suppose the talk now would be, can Milan get his 100? It'd be interesting to see how Joss plays it now. I mean, he's going to most probably play his way, but I suppose, you know, with a game, you don't really want to mess around with sport because it can bite you in the bum. But if he can negotiate it, because he's only 18 off 21, so it's really easy. It's a walk in the park. But it'd be interesting to see if he can negotiate the time for Milan to get 100, possibly.
Just finish the game off.
Nortje in, and Butler gives himself a bit of room and carves it back with a point. That'll fly away past Sapamla for 4, and England now need 14 from 20. And yeah, that's an apt subject. Well, we've got Alex Tudor here, a man who was denied what would have been an only Test match 100 by the game being finished off by Graham Thorpe. I bet you that Dawid Malan is not even thinking about it, as Alex was not thinking about it at the time. What was it, Edgbaston 1999, wasn't it?
It was, buddy, yeah.
People have been sending nasty letters to Graham Thorpe ever since then.
I think they're my mum. I think it's Mrs. T.
Nortje is in, full toss again, and Butler slams it at George Linder at mid-off inside the circle. Gets it so hard that there's no chance that they can scamper through for 1. Yeah, I can just imagine Mrs. T it being in the Tudor front room that afternoon. It would have been a Monday. Would it have been Monday after, or was the game over in 4 days?
It was a Saturday.
3 days.
3 days. And then I went up to Derby for a Sunday league game.
That's right.
As you did back then.
She would have been cursing and throwing her slippers at the screen.
I always told Thorpe, just God bless, I hope you just never just bump into my mum.
Never run into Mrs. T.
Don't do it, fella. Especially if it's a rainy day, she's got an umbrella.
Anyway, Dawid Malan needs 12. England need 14.
This partnership is 153 at the moment.
Josh Butler is on strike. 65 from 44 for Butler. That'll be dug out for a single. 4 ball from Nortje. So Milan needs 12 from 13, and Butler, I think, will keep the strike. Yes, he does, with 3 overs to go.
Well, we were talking about it, wasn't it? 191. We said, you know, the top 4, someone needs to be there at the end, or you know, they need to form a partnership. Well, they've done that in spades, haven't they? They've batted extremely well.
Well, I put it to both of you at the halfway point that yes, you know, England have kind of let things slide in the last 5 overs or so. But if South Africa found it that easy to score, then England will too.
Yeah, as you said, Mark. You know, I think I'm doing them a disservice. Look, they're quality players. The bowling, you know, it hasn't been great, but they're young bowlers finding their way, and trying to find your way against world-class batters is not easy. And they've had to fetch it, you know, and they may need a dumper truck to carry some of these figures. It's been brutal, isn't it?
Sapamla is into Josh Butler, who does rather gently and perhaps mindfully knock that ball into mid-wicket and turn over the strike to Dawid Malan, as if to say, right mate, now's your chance.
Yeah. Over to you. What do they need? 12 needed?
Yeah.
2 blows.
2 blows and
2 big blows at 6 gun Gruel Newlands.
Walk off. I remember just quickly, just like Alan Butcher, we were playing a second team game at Lancashire, and Peter Sleep was for Lancashire, and we had Al Butch, and he hit this ball into the boundary. It was still carrying. As he looked at Peter Sleep, said, "We'll declare," and the ball was still travelling. 6. Different stuff it was.
Sapamla in to Milan, who's listening to the conversation because he has bopped that over long on for 6.
There's one.
Well, there's one of them.
You know what would be the thing now?
94 right? Now. 94 for Dawid Malan. England need, 6 runs to win? And Milan needs 6 for 100.
You know what would be so arrogant now? He does it again. He doesn't even look at anyone. He just puts the bat underneath his arm and just walks off. Or he does the drop the bat. You know, like everyone just drop the mic.
Just like a mic drop.
Yeah, just like boom. I'm in this team. I'm in this team, people. I ain't going anywhere.
I don't think knowing David Malan is the type of guy that will do the mic drop or the bat drop.
Oh, wide ball. That's a
no
big,
ball.
big wide from Sir Pamela. He almost missed the cut strip. Yeah, as you heard from Alfonso Thomas there, he missed the cut strip. It's now a no ball, not a wide. It's another rule that baffles me. But anyway, we'll move along from that. England need 5 from 16 deliveries. Darren Milan needs 6 to bring up what will be a second T20 International 100. So Pamela has already taken some stick. He's gone for 40. He's 2.2 overs so far. TalkSport listeners, welcome along. So Pamela is in, and Milan has just slapped it over extra cover for 4. Scores are now level, and Dawid Malan needs 2 for 100. It has been a quite brilliant innings from the number 1 T20 batsman in the world. He's 98 not out from just 46 balls. England have levelled up South Africa's 191 for 3 with 2.5 overs to spare. And Dawid Malan needs 2 for a second T20 International 100.
Just phenomenal batting display, stroke making at its best from Dawid Malan. Not overhit things. Just good technique, good base, and just destroying the bowl. He's striking at 213. That's Chris Gale type figures.
Unbelievable. And he's
Andre
doing it
Russell
effortlessly.
even.
So Pamela in, and Milan digs it out. It will be fielded at extra cover. There's been a fumble. There's a chance he can come back with 2, but Josh Butler has run all the way through the crease. It's a low-key end to what has been anything but a low-key run chase from England. Dawid Malan finishes 99 not out. England have chased down the target of 192 by 9 wickets for the loss of just Jason Roy. And South Africa look absolutely shell-shocked. They thought they were in business. They thought they were in the game at the halfway point, having posted 191 thanks to a superb stand of 127 for the 4th wicket between Faf du Plessis and Rassie van der Dussen. 74 from 32 from van der Dussen, 52 from 37 from Faf du Plessis. But it's about 25 to 30 runs too few as England absolutely canter home thanks to Josh Butler and the hero of the hour and the best T20 player in the world right now, Dawid Malan.
That was absolutely fantastic from Malan. You know, he's made that knock look really effortlessly. You know, to get 99 off 47 balls, striking at 210, and it doesn't even look as if he's broken a sweat. You know, fantastic, and obviously well supported by Josh Butler, 67 or 46. He was going at 145, and we thought that was good.
Yeah, there were times there where Josh Butler was more than happy to play second fiddle to Dawid Malan, just turning over the strike and allowing the left-hander to weave his magic around Newlands. It really has been a happy hunting ground for England. Go all the way back to January, a stunning Test match victory there to level up that Test series at the beginning of what has turned out to be a blighted 2020. But England have wrapped up the T20 International Series 3-0. Milan gets handshakes all round from England's support staff. We have the likes of Paul Collingwood and Mr. Foster up there, the wicket-keeping guru. He's out there coaching. Graham Thorpe, of course, along with Chris Silverwood. England will be mighty pleased. They decided not to ring the changes, despite having won the Series 2-0 after the win at Boland Park on Sunday. They named an unchanged side. The bowlers had the better of things in the first 10 overs of the contest, while the floodlights, or before the floodlights had taken effect. And then South Africa came roaring back into it. But it's been all England really since the dismissal of Jason Roy when the score was just 25. Dawid Malan and Josh Butler have had an evening to remember at Newlands. And that goes into the memory bank along with plenty of others from the same ground during this extraordinary year where we've seen Test matches, One-Day Internationals and T20 International cricket played in front of empty grounds. the level, it has to be said, of performance from players who perhaps could be excused for not having the adrenaline pumping and not putting their best in has been anything but that. It's been quite extraordinary. David Malan has once again proven why he is the number one player in the world in this format.
Different class, Butch. Phenomenal innings. You know, take my hats off to him. As you say, you know, that's now what, as you say, 19 innings. He's got 10 half centuries, nearly got a second 100 in T20 cricket. Figures that the great Chris Gale and the GOAT Virat Kohli couldn't even do. So it just shows you the confidence of the man, the quality of the man, why he's number one. He's in this team for a reason, and he's here to stay. I think he gives England that option at the top of the order as well. You know, he's left-handed, so it does mess up the bowlers with their lengths and lines a little bit, which then helps the Butlers of the world, the Bairstows. I mean, look, Stokes and Morgan have not even come to the wicket. You know, England have a long batting order. You know, you've got Rashid coming at 11, and they just made that South African bowling lineup look very average. I mean, listen, they're very inexperienced. They haven't played a lot of cricket. They're missing their world-class bowler through injury. It was always going to be tough, but the halfway stage, 191, you're thinking, we got a game on. Well, they've done it with 14 balls to spare, and in any T20 game, you win by a few balls, that's lashes. I mean, what's this, Butch?
Yep, a couple of overs to spare, chasing 190. As I said, I think if South Africa had posted 210, it might not have been enough, as England sort of rather took their foot off the pedal as the end came into view. Just a look at the bowling figures for South Africa. 9 for 26 from George Linder. He has been a rare success story for South Africa in this series with both bat and ball. Henrik Nortje, the only successful bowler, 1 for 37 from him. 0 for 45 for young Sipamla of 2.4 overs. He went at just a little under 17 an over. Tareya Shamsi went at almost 16 runs per over, and he is the man that South Africa are looking to replace Imran Tahir in T20 internationals. I'm not sure how long that experiment is going to last. And England are winners here by 9 wickets. Gentlemen, perhaps worth, as Andrew McKenna comes in alongside me as well, perhaps worth having a look back at the series as a whole. I mean, you know, Quentin de Kock perhaps said at the beginning of the game, you know, we've been close. We've run England close in these first 2 games. Was he kidding himself? Or, you know, is there genuine reason to be optimistic about South Africa in the T20 game?
There was no contest. This was a classic case of men versus boys for me. You know, you are looking at an England side, the side, they know their roles. There's competition for places, there's depth. You compare that to the side now, there's no De Villiers, yes, granted. There's no Chris Morris who can come in. They chose not to pick Tahir, and I just think in these months leading up to the World Cup, there has to be some serious looking at themselves.
And from an England point of view, Butch, you've got to remember that Owen Morgan gave the performance in the first game 5 out of 10. Well, that night they put 183 for 5 on the board to win by 5 wickets with 4 balls to spare. So it's been pretty one-sided, and England have only rated themselves as average. This has probably been their best performance, and they've absolutely canted it, and the series was already in the book by that point. I think maybe the big difference between these sides at the moment is confidence. The first 2 games, yes, South Africa had chances, but this England side have been through so much together, they know they can get themselves out of it. And that, to me, if you look at a lot of the names in that South African side, most of them you wouldn't have an issue with. It's confidence and putting numbers on the board.
I agree to an extent. I think with all the best will in the world, that you're comparing apples with oranges, though, if you look down the list. And you know, you're unlikely to go into a contest with your confidence at an all-time high, knowing you're coming up against a team who generally speaking, man for man, have got you covered. That makes having confidence very, very difficult. I think, and again, without being rude to fellow professionals or former professional now, but the golfing class was stark by the end.
I think the interesting thing is, reading a lot of the South African media, is their concern is this is pretty much their best group of players from what they have available. Yes, absolutely right. You know, Chris Morris is there or thereabouts, but at the moment it doesn't look like he is in favour. I mean, he came back from the IPL with a bit of an injury, but for whatever reason, the same with Tahir. It looks like they're trying to build for the next World Cup, and this is pretty much the next group of players. They're talking about which other batsmen can they bring in. There is no one in South African domestic cricket who is making so many runs that screams pick me, pick me. So they're almost obliged to stay with this, because you might as well.
Yep. Difficult times coming up for South Africa. Let's try it forward then. We have a 3-match one-day international series starting on Friday. I have to say, I don't expect things to look a great deal better for South Africa in that, bearing in mind that England are the world champions in the 50-over game and pretty much can call upon, with the exception of Jofra Archer, who's being rested. I think he's now played his last cricket of the year 2020. We'll be calling upon much of the 11, 12, 13, 14 who were world champions only last year. So this is going to be another tough ask for South Africa. Just to run you through who will be coming into England's one-day international squad. Lewis Gregory comes back in. Liam Livingstone of Lancashire. Joe Root, of course, who will be very, very keen to prove that not only is he a world-class player in Test and 50-over cricket, that he might be worth a look in the 15 for the T20s as well. Ollie Stone, who impressed in the warm-up T20 matches, bowled quickly and took wickets there. And in terms of the guys who haven't been seen in this, that are in the T20 squad and in the 50-over squad, Reece Topley and Sam Billings. Chris Wokes comes back in as well, which only strengthens England still further. Alfonso Thomas has just sort of shrugged his shoulders over there and say, well, have you got any more World Cup winners you want to bring into this side? And Mark Wood, of course, of Durham, who will be hoping, and I think we will all be hoping, gets a bit of a run out. Surely he has rested enough from the first Test match of the series against the West Indies all the way back in July. Right, we're not far away from leaving you now. I hope you've enjoyed the action from South Africa in these 3 one-day internationals. England have looked absolutely a class above the South Africans. Problems for Mark Boucher. Graham Smith, who behind the scenes is trying to put together some semblance of a plan for South African cricket going forward, and of course for Quinton de Kock, their captain, who becomes increasingly under fire, and his job has been made even more difficult by the fact that Kagiso Rabada has been ruled out of that one-day international series with a groin injury. You've been listening to England's third T20 against South Africa. Do not forget, we'll be bringing you every ball of the one-day international series here on TalkSport 2 on Friday. My thanks to Andrew McKenna, to Alfonso Thomas, and of course to Alex Tudor, who will be bringing you more tales of his daring do for the Surrey second 11, no doubt, during the one-day international series. But next up, here on TalkSport 2, we bring you live championship action as QPR host Bristol City. Thanks for listening. Pamela in to Milan, who's listening to the conversation because he has bopped that over long on for 6.
There's one.
Well, there's one of them.
You know what would be the thing now?
94 right? Now. 94 for Dawood Milan. England need, 6 runs to win? And Milan needs 6 for 100. So Pamela in. And Milan digs it out. It will be fielded an extra cover. There's been a fumble. There's a chance he can come back with 2. But Josh Butler has run all the way through the crease. It's a low-key end to what has been anything but a low-key run chase from England. Dawood Milan finishes 99 not out. England have chased down the target of 192 by 9 wickets for the loss of just Jason Roy.
South Africa versus England live on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Feel it all and watch every England Test, ODI and T20 live and exclusive on the dedicated Sky Sports Cricket channel.